The first 3 regions relaxing rules on Wednesday. There are 3 regions. For more on the situation in Ontario, I want to bring in Matthew Johnson. He's the co-owner of Poor Boy Soul's Bespoke Shoes, and he joins us from Cobalt, Ontario. And Matt, hi there. And I know that you were expecting to be in an area that would be reopening on Wednesday, but that has changed. And so we're going to, it might be a little bit, you might have to wait a little bit, maybe a week or so. But what was your reaction just to the idea of some businesses in your area reopening?
Thank you for having me. My reaction overall is mixed. There are a considerable number of issues at play here. Public health, first and foremost. We live in a very small community. I live in Cobalt, Ontario, as you stated, but the surrounding area, Temiskaming Shores, Coleman Township, it's a very tight-knit community, a very small community. We've been very lucky geographically to keep our numbers down, but that's not without significant work on behalf of the people that live and work within our community. The feelings are mixed because we're getting mixed messages from our provincial government. On one hand, we're hearing we're going to go into a green zone. On the other hand, on the other side, we're hearing vaccination for your area could take as long as August, September before we see anything. And the plans that have been put into place to date are of serious concern. Stay-at-home order, but you're allowed to have curbside service. The messaging is mixed, and a lot of the business owners in the area share the same point of view as I do. We're just looking for a bit of stability. We're looking for a plan in place that's going to protect the residents in the area, as well as the business owners being residents as well. We're not convinced that at the present time the plans in place are going to be looking after us as effectively as intended. And it seems as though we're on a rudderless ship with a captain that keeps changing course.
So, wow, okay. How has your business been affected by the lockdown order?
My business itself is down probably about 45% year over year. When the pandemic hit, we were about 2 years into the launch of our business. Years 3 to 5 are the most integral for the success of a small business. What we've had to do, we've gone from 5 staff and we've dropped down to my wife and myself working in the shop. The workload continues to flow in because our community is great at supporting us. But again, the concerns are many. We're investing money in tools and equipment to expedite the processes here in our shop in hopes that we can make it through. We're playing with house money. We're playing with money that we pay our bills with, not knowing if we're going to be able to bring in the revenue needed to continue. But the alternative is it's not overly appealing. We have a young family that we're trying to raise, and we're doing this all under the guise of being part of a plan that's apparently supposed to work, but that those goalposts keep moving. Yeah. And as such, our plan has to keep moving along with it, and it creates an instability in not only the business, but general health and well-being of us and our community.
Yeah, that just sounds like an impossible situation. If I understand you correctly, and I've heard this from other small business owners, it sounds as though you're working harder but making less. Am I right on that?
I can guarantee you that we're working harder. We're making less. The supply line concerns are daunting. From the onset of the pandemic, our business is our business is a very intimate business. We're dealing with people's comfort. We're dealing with medical alterations to footwear. We need people in person in our shop. I have an autoimmune deficiency, so I cannot be in person with people right now, and it's absolutely killing that aspect of our business. But on the flip side, we've had to maintain and change we've had to change our plan and try and maintain this course where we can do things or put in more hours in order to accommodate and do things we wouldn't normally do. Again, we went from a staff of 5 to just Dana and myself working in the shop, and the hours are long. It's put considerable strain on relationships. I'm very lucky that I have a very understanding partner because any other situation in this would be quite strained.
Yeah, the kindness many people have found in each other is really something wonderful, but it can be obviously very challenging. Do you want to open your doors? Do you want I understand you feel sort of mixed and torn about all of this, but do you feel like now is the time where you want people kind of back in your shop?
I'd feel more comfortable if there was a better handle on the situation. I'd feel comfortable if our provincial leadership was taking into account that they're dealing with our livelihoods. I hear that message is shared, but the message looks like it's very scripted. It's very political. It's a speech rather than coming from the heart. I would feel much better if we could get an expedited vaccination program. Opening up prior to a vaccination program even being in our area is of serious concern. Masking protocols and the protocols that the health units put in place, those have been thrown on the shoulders of small business. We have to enforce that. We're the frontline workers who get hurt when we tell someone they can't come into our place of business because they're not wearing a mask. We're the people who have to deal with the possibility of the Ministry of Labor coming in and doing a COVID inspection when we're at our lowest. We're the people who are working through this and trying to do the absolute best we can with essentially mixed messages and very little results from the higher up. And all we're asking for as business owners is a definitive plan put in place that looks after the interests of the communities such as ours so we can continue to do business. Yes, I very much want to open my doors, but with the current uncertainty combined with my autoimmune issues and the onus being put on us to enforce all these protocols, it's daunting. And I believe for my business in particular, we will stay at curbside service until we can get a better idea as to what's going on.
Matthew, appreciate you taking the time. We wish you and your family and your business well, but appreciate your time today, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that was Matthew Johnson. He's the co-owner of Poor Boy Soles Bespoke Shoes, joining us from Cobalt, Ontario.